Subculture Talk. That's right. I am your host, Pat626. Normally, I host Subculture Shock Sunday nights on Twitch. But every once in a while, I like to talk to the people that make the lovely music I play. And one of those people, someone I've been playing since 2020, I have Gabby of Eva X in the studio now. How's it going, Gabby?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am good. I had to think about that for a second, but yes, I am good. Everything is good.
I feel that.
I appreciate you being on the show, considering that you've got a festival in like 2 days.
So we're driving out Saturday. The festival's not till next weekend.
Okay.
I'm from Calgary originally. Still got a lot of friends in that there, so we're going out a little early.
Okay. Yeah. Still appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah. So, I'll get into discovering your music in a second, but I guess we'll start with the question that I always start these interviews off with, what I like to call the supervillain origin story. So how did you get into like the dark music genres in general? Not just making music, but what got you even listening to this stuff to begin with?
So I've been singing in various capacities all my life, occasionally to my siblings' chagrin. In high school, one of my friends noticed that I was really kind of had a knack for singing classical style stuff and gave me a whole ton of CDs of like Nightwish, Epica, Amorphis, all that good Finnish metal stuff, and got me into heavy metal. And then in 2016, I was looking for something to do on a Saturday night, and Dickens, which is actually where I'm going for Terminus, had a DJ set by Juno Reactor. I'm like, what the heck? It's $25. I like the Matrix. This could be fun. Anyway, our Garden Sphere opened. I kind of had a metalhead view of electronic music, like, oh, it's just computers. And so Scott opened with one of his first Singularity sets. My brain melted out of my ears and then back in again, and I basically started discovering everything I could. Went to my first Terminus as an attendee in 2017. Started to attempt to produce my own music a bit starting in 2018 in earnest. And then, started Eva X basically in 2019, and here we are today.
So yeah, you hadn't been doing this for very long before I caught you then, because I think it was 2020. It was a Bandcamp Friday, and I put out a call to musicians, like I always do on Bandcamp Fridays, like, hey, share your links so that people can download your stuff. Hey, listeners, go find new bands. And so you posted a link, and I clicked on it, and you had just released A Softer World.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was probably the one.
Yeah, and I was just like, holy fuck. Like, there's something so vulnerable about that track, and was really like the song we needed, because this was August, so we were on like the 5th month of 6 weeks to flatten the curve. So so I guess the thing is that you've gone through just so many different shapes and subgenres of synthetic music since then. And I guess this kind of makes sense now, is that it sounds to me like you've been trying to get out there and just try all of these different things that you fell in love with.
A bit, yeah. It's been a really, I guess maybe it's been a bit of an accelerated growth cycle almost. I mean, a lot of the creative shape of the EP boils down, the Electro EP for 2019 boils down to, flatly, I didn't know what I was doing. I had basically just picked up Ableton like not that long ago. I was still really getting a handle on what writing music for myself even sounded like. And, you know, I mean, it's been kind of an enduring EP. Like, I'm still playing Black Blood, although honestly, gotta tell you, I'm playing that 2021 remake forever. And Retooling is here to stay forever. And so I'm really proud of that, but it's just really, to me, it's been kind of a transition to, oh, this is the sound, this is the mood and the vibe, and this is what kind of speaks to my little soul. Like, Machine was actually written, I wrote the first draft of it, I think in early 2020, and had actually performed it a couple times, and then rewrote it for the album and the single last September.
Yeah. Which is actually playing in the background right now for those of you playing the home game. So, yeah, that's actually an interesting point, though, about the kind of the sound that you're starting to discover. Because I remember the one thing that I was really surprised on when the latest single, Body Talk, came out, was how much guitar was on that.
Yeah, so that was a lot of that was the brainchild. So one of the things that really changed for the album was I realized that I needed a little bit of help to polish everything up and get to where I really wanted it to be. And I ended up enlisting my bud and fantastic Canadian producer, Shane Stevenson, to help produce the album. And he brought in Adam Ma, who's another great Canadian electronic songwriter. Adam actually has a new song out today, which I will have to go find and link on my Instagram after this.
Yes.
And they really kind of joined in. So I brought in like the 8 tracks, like demoed and that, and then we took them together and really pushed them forward and brought them to life. And Shane was the one who put in a lot of the guitar work on Body Talk.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining. As someone that loves like post-punk guitar, it sounded perfect. But I remember hearing that and going, there are no holds barred for the album.
No, there really aren't, and that's something that's made me really happy. I mean, there was guitars put in on A Softer World, but as I like putting guitars in on my stuff, but it was me playing my Stride in my basement. It's not quite the same.
Well, it's also it's taken much more of a center stage now. It sounds
it really has.
Yeah, I noticed that with the Grendel version of Machine as well, where it's just like, oh, we're a metal song now. Yes, let's go.
I did write one song. Well, pretty much it's just a straight up power metal song for the album. The closing track, Tear Down These Walls, is pretty much just straight up power metal with a dose of electronics.
You can't see the face I just made, but it was a good one. I was just like, oh,
excellent.
Let me pick my jaw up now. So
we're playing that song at Terminus. We're starting to put that one in the sets already, just because that one actually, Tear Down These Walls, Eric did the guitars for that one.
Okay. Well, let me start walking to Canada. I'm gonna have to go. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to one of these festivals one of these days. I'll just, quit the job, sell all my stuff. It'll be fine. So go ahead.
Yeah, Terminus is really, it's a special one for me because it's kind of the hometown festival almost.
Well, yeah, I mean, you said you've got friends there and in Calgary, and it sounds like something like Terminus is kind of how you got started in this whole thing. So
yeah, Dickens Pub especially. Dickens, they put on Terminus, they're the venue for it. Yeah. And Chris, it's basically Chris's little baby that he has been nurturing along for I think about 12 years now.
Ooh.
And Dickens really, even outside of Terminus, it really is kind of the beating heart of the Calgary alternative scene. Chris and Amber really, like, they have a whole community of like dark 80s, drag nights, trivia. They've just really, I can't say enough good things about Dickens. They've just really created this amazing space for all the goths and metalheads and weird people to kind of come and really thrive. So it's just really special to be. It's always special to be playing at Dickens. This will be my second time playing there, and it's fantastic.
So, yeah, we'll go into this, and we'll go back to the album in a minute. You know, you've just started doing shows again.
Yes.
But then I guess like the pandemic really started when you were still getting everything off the ground. So what was it like to like do a couple of shows and then go, oh, nope, never mind. I guess I'm going to just record stuff now.
Yeah, it was a weird mix of feelings because I was just like basically having about 5 panic attacks a day trying to put together my first US visa application package when the shutdown came down. Mechanismus was off. Like suddenly I was also supposed to play a couple of shows and had everything originally on the plan. I would have played a couple of shows in Texas in 2020 as well. And I was desperately trying to figure out like a bridge in the middle because the way the US performing visa works is during to make a long story short, I was trying to figure out a run in the middle with basically no tools, no nothing, when suddenly it was all not happening anyway. And so in a weird, I was like disappointed and yet also strangely relieved because I have been just tearing my hair out.
Yay, I don't have to do this work anymore. Oh shit, I don't have a tour anymore.
Pretty much. That was pretty much it. I'm like, it was just a real... And in some ways, I've made good things come out of it, I guess. I turned to streaming things, and that ended up helping. I think that really helped raise Eva X's profile. Because
I can see that.
I just was one of those people who's generally willing to show up and volunteer. At the time, I had a little house, so I could have a streaming space in what was affectionately nicknamed the murder basement. It kind of had this 70s wood paneling and weirdly sung. Anyway, yeah, it kind of was a murder basement, but it was great. It made a great streaming venue. I rented 2 lights from Long and McQuaid and proceeded to hang on to them for so long that I went to return them. They're like, yeah, you've owned those for 6 months. Still have them. I guess I could clip them into the Eva X light show someday. And then just spent 2020 doing more gigs streaming than I had ever done in all bands combined in person up till then. And then by 2021, I was just like, I did one last one in May. I was just like, I am losing my steam for this. So I'm really grateful that live gigs have been able to come back. I've done a couple of streams since then, and I'll probably continue doing them here and there, but it's really special to be back in front of a live audience.
Well, it's neat though, because by doing all of those live streams, it's like you never got out of practice.
No, I had, and it was great because when I hit the stage again in November of 2021 was my first show back. And then, you know, when I hit Verboten and then Mechanismus, it at least felt like I was going into it with just so much more experience. And in a way, it just was a huge relief because I just had to show up and sing. I didn't have to be like the singer, the synths, the lighting person, the sound guy, the tech.
Which you were if all of those things.
To debug a streaming rig while trying to keep a show going again. It's really too good. I had a huge tech failure. I had a couple tech failures. One when the backing track completely failed in the middle of one of the larger shows I did, so that was fun. But yeah, it's really, really nice to have a crew again because I couldn't have anyone during COVID.
Right. That's interesting actually, because like for a lot of people, you know, getting back to and I'm sure this is true as well, getting back to live gigs means like, oh, hey, yeah, I get to perform in front of people again. There's this whole extra energy. But also you're like, yeah, there's also this energy because I'm only doing one job instead of 6.
Yes! And yeah, it really is so fantastic to play to humans. And it did make me a much better live performer, because just instead of like playing to my wall and my very judgmental cat, suddenly there was humans.
And they were into your music,
really
unlike your cat.
Sorry?
They were into your music, unlike your cat.
Yeah, my cat like leaves during my performances usually.
All right, if I'm not getting pets, I'm out.
Yeah, one time she wandered too close and she made a surprise appearance during a stream. She wasn't actually especially fond of that.
Whoops. And so, you know, I can't get off of this because it you know, I was sitting here, I have commented on what I consider to be the meteoric impact that Eva X has had lately. Like, I went from, you know, just kind of discovering you through that link you sent me on in August, and now it's like every playlist I see, every like electro-industrial synth pop playlist I see has Eva X on it. You're getting remixed by Daddy Bear and by Grendel. You're performing Mechanismus, which I hopefully pronounced properly there. Like,
you got it.
Yeah, and Terminus. Like, and it sounds like if there's a silver lining to a global pandemic at all, it's that it happened to be one of the best things that could have happened to your music profile.
Apparently. I think just a lot of it was just, you know, keep trying things and keep asking. The worst, I have a motto for myself, like, the worst they can say is no.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes people say no, and it's valuable information when that happens. And, you know, a lot of times people say, yeah, sure, go ahead. So it's been really, really cool. I have to admit, I was actually quite nervous asking for the Grendel remix. But he's like, crap, so that was really cool.
Well, that lets me know that when I finally get my washing machine band off the ground, I can ask Grendel for a remix.
You know, you don't know if you don't ask it.
No, but that's a good point. And actually, like, you just said that you kind of made that your mantra, but it sounds like just getting out there and earnestly putting yourself out there has done great things. Like, what would you say to people that are just getting started, like you were with Eva X back in 2019, which was only 3 years ago?
I can't, yeah, I don't know where the time went. You know, it's a lot of work, a lot of like really, you know, I sit down with every track I do and I'm really, I am actually really critical with my own work. It's like, what worked? What could I do better the second time around? Funny you talk about Soft World. I actually ended up for Verboten going back and massively recutting the song because it needed to it needed to flow faster and kind of get to the point sooner, as it were. Mm-hmm. And then it just immediately gelled live. So it's a kind of a process of really, it is a very analytical process, which is kind of great for me. I'm a really analytical person, but it's also just like, you know, keep putting yourself out there, keep going forward, and just always be learning, always be growing, always be trying for the next thing. And, you know, I won't lie, there's definitely a little bit of luck there too.
Oh yeah. But, you know, that's that old saying I used to have up in my classroom of, you know, opportunity plus attitude equals excellence. Like,
yeah. And as much as I acknowledge, like, is there a bit of luck to it? Yeah. But also you can make your own luck.
Yeah. So something you said kind of stuck with me there as a bit of an analytical person myself. A lot of people I talk to have this kind of thing of like, okay, well, they know when to let the song be done, and they finish it, and then they never think about it again. And it seems like you've kind of done the opposite, where you go back to stuff and you're like, all right, but how can I retool it to make it more of what I'm doing right now?
So I'm not a big, I mean, to be honest, the big reason I retooled A Softer World is because I needed a new live cut. I'm not really keen on, I'm not really keen on endlessly retooling past releases, but knowing kind of what worked and what didn't is good focus going forward.
So
like it helped me when it came time to write the album, like when I sat down, especially writing like Machine and Whipping Girl, where it's like, right, so I want to go to my point, like none of this meander, it's like straight there.
That's actually something I wanted to talk with you about too, and so what a wonderful segue. Thank you. I noticed that tracks like Whipping Girl, Body Talk, and Machine, like all of them seem to be a lot more blunt than previous releases. And I think that it's, yeah, so you talk about getting to the point very quickly musically, and I hadn't caught that, but that fits in perfectly with the lyrics, I think, get to the point very quickly as well.
Yeah, I think some of that is just a shift in attitude. I definitely think I've gotten more confident as a writer, and sometimes I write like more esoteric, metaphorical stuff still. Like there's definitely some stuff that is a little more in the vein of virtual sexual in that on the album. But, and actually I ended up doing a crit session with a couple of larger name producers who I didn't end up working with for various reasons. But one of the things he mentioned is just like, you know, that theme of your song you just told me, write that. Don't write around. And that was very good advice.
Don't think about doing the thing, do the thing.
Exactly. And don't like think about what you're trying to say. Just fucking say it. And that's really, I think that's served me well, and I'm hoping it will continue to, especially because, you know, at some point I'm gonna have to start really writing the next album, and I think that's gonna be a really interesting process.
Okay, so we'll give you a break, obviously. We'll give you a couple of days after this album releases before we make you start writing the next one. But how is that process going to be different from writing, you know, the one that you're about ready to release?
Man, it's going to be, I mean, obviously this is probably going to feel a little higher pressure, not going to lie. Like this album has really blown away all of my expectations for it, and now I'm just like, oh my god, I have a bit of a voice I'm gonna have to go take and sit down in the corner. I know I want to do something that's a little more club and dance focused, a little harder and angrier. This maybe just be that I've been hanging out with Morris Black too much.
There's no such thing as hanging out with Morris Black too much.
There is not. He is the greatest dude.
I feel bad because all I do really is Twitter stalk him. I don't think I've actually had much of a conversation with him. But from what I can tell, just an absolute champ of a human being.
He really is. I actually had like a production lesson with Ryan back in 2020 when I was looking to start leveling up my production skills for the album. And yeah, he still gives like really fantastic advice. And I don't know if you caught from the Mechanismus photos, but when my backing musician situation fell through, he actually stepped in to help do tracks and keys for Mechanismus, which was just such a cool experience.
I bet.
Yeah. Oh my God, it was so fun.
Wow. Good guy, Brian.
Yeah, no, he really came through for me. It was super fantastic, and we keep joking back and forth because we were on the same day at Mechanismus, and we're on the same day at Terminus again. So basically, he stuck with me all summer.
Oh. All right, so that means that at some point we are getting either a double album from you two, or you're going to recreate the Wonder Twins cartoon. Possibly both.
We'll see. We'll have to see. I would definitely, I would completely be in. I need to kind of get myself settled and after Terminus. I'll admit after Terminus, I have to book a last round of live things for the end of the year.
Yeah.
So there will be more live shows before the end of 2022. Obviously, I'm confirmed for Unconvention in November.
Woo!
Mm-hmm. And I am very much hoping to do a few gigs kind of around that place and time.
Yeah.
Wish me luck.
Good luck.
Thank you. Yeah, it's much easier this time than trying to put together and joining shows in 2020 was, and I'm really grateful because 2020 was not a fun experience trying to connect up the fest dates.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's crazy to think how much things have changed for Eva X between like March 2020 to now.
Well, yeah, I mean, you basically wrote a whole new album before you were really touring much on the previous material.
I have so many copies of that EP that I was supposed to sell at festivals and tours, and they're still in my freaking. I had luckily I think I only did around 100, but unfortunately, I didn't end up going to half of the dates I was supposed to do to promote that EP. So I still have way too many of them.
Okay, so
at this point they're coming. Yeah, they're going to be at Terminus. At this point, they're pretty much just they're heavily discounted at this point.
I was going to say, if you're not worried about making money on them at this point, okay, so you get yourself some frisbees, you tape the CD to the bottom of it, and you throw it out from the stage.
Tempting. Unfortunately, I'm mostly back on the pressing cost at this point. I would like to recoup some of it, but I do tend to hand them out pretty readily. I was handing them out pretty readily as like fun previews and music samplers, so you know.
Okay, so on the frisbee, you include a note that says, "Now you owe me $10."
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
This plan cannot fail.
It's an unfailable plan.
Yep. Also, just so you know, we have support for the Morris Black Eva X Wonder Twins television show in chat now. Hashtag Wonder Twins, everybody.
Hashtag Wonder Twins. All right, I'm going to tell Brian that this is going to be our weekend project in Calgary is at least one Wonder Twins episode.
Yep. Wonder Twins episode. I'm here for it. I mean, and then you can write the soundtrack to it. You guys are set.
Exactly. We're like totally there.
I'm sorry, I can't go and interview without making up some silly hashtag, apparently. So.
It's all good. It's all good. Hey, I just realized Eric's coming. You can help film it.
Perfect. Let's go.
We're all set.
We're ready. Oh, yeah. Look at the hashtags in chat. Wow, that's amazing. So.
I can't see chat, so.
It's okay. I'm talking to myself mostly there. It happens. First sign of madness.
No worries.
So. We talked about how, there's a lot of different influences and genres happening in this album. I've only heard 3 tracks off it right now, although I have heard them and played the heck out of them. Is there any sort of like lyrical cohesion to it, or do the lyrics mostly just fit whatever style you're doing at the time?
So there was an original idea of sort of themes of how we present ourselves to the world and how we I'm trying to figure out the best way to describe this, because the album title, I Dream of Reality, is actually yanked wholesale off an art show I once saw. That's, I'll quickly summarize, basically a group of artists bought an anime character from a catalog of basically anime background characters. This character was intended to be like a background character, and they like a one-shot, one episode and done. And then they basically had a bunch of artists construct different stories and identities for her, and that really, really stuck with me. And the album was supposed to be about this whole theme of like how we construct our identities and see ourselves relative to the world. It ended up getting split into Electro Woman was sort of a couple things that only vaguely at best fit the album that was split off. And then we ended up writing the rest of the album, and the theme is somewhat there, but I think the theme generally kind of stuck around a little, but it is much looser than I had originally planned.
I mean, that's... I'm glad, though, that you didn't try to force it, though.
No, it didn't make sense to.
Yeah.
And I think I got it, like, enough, and I do, and I mean, if I sit down and really squint, a lot of the songs really do touch on how we relate ourselves to other people and how we present ourselves to the world and to an audience. And so I feel like I got it close enough. And I did actually make a new backing video for Terminus. And in that, I got to shove every single media, artistic, and stock footage reference to this whole theme that I could dream of. And I had a great time.
That sounds awesome.
Oh, yeah. No, I was going to go for 12 minutes, and it ended up being about 4.5. But I went pretty dense with it.
Well, and it's neat, though, now that you say that, you know, looking back at, like, Whipping Girl and Machine... especially. Both of those songs, I can really see that. Whipping Girl was like one of my most played songs from 2021, and in fact, I like just one of my most played songs in the Afterparty. Anytime I'm like hurting for a song in that BPM, I'm like, Whipping Girl, let's go. That's
I love hearing that. It is actually a fun metrics fact. It is on Spotify, by far my most played track of all time.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because, like, that song is just, it is the perfect song to scream at people. It is the perfect song to, like, blast in your car and shout at the top of your lungs.
That makes me so fucking happy.
Not that I've ever done that or anything. Nope. Mm-mm.
You know, it was born from a lot of screaming and shouting and things. I'm just so... relentless, just so ridiculously happy that it is that for other people.
Yeah, no, it's great, and it's very much like I hadn't even picked up on that about, you know, it's not just about breaking away from a toxic person, but also being like, by the way, I am not this timid little person that you can abuse.
Yeah.
I don't know why you see me like this, but no, I'm not happening.
Yes, no, it's really, no, just really, really happy that, that makes me really happy.
All right, now we find out if I can make Eva X blush on camera. So
it's also still pretty warm in my little studio space here. It's about 30 degrees here in BC right now.
See, 30 degrees since I'm on that. Yeah, I was going to say, since I'm on that ridiculous American standard.
Yes. You're on what I affectionately call freedom units. I think it is like the low 90s.
Yeah, that's gross. It was about that.
Something like that. Despite having spent the better part of the year in America between 2020 and 2022, I still can't do Fahrenheit. I have to convert it to Celsius.
Hey, you know what? Quite honestly, a lot of Americans can't do Fahrenheit, so you're fine.
I can't wrap my head around it as a scale. I can do Celsius. I can generally, you know, Kelvin at least is the same intervals.
Yeah. No,
Fahrenheit's already no.
I mean, yeah, well, the entire imperial system, I'm pretty sure, was made up by some drunk guard looking for something to do. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
All right, wait. So, how many inches are in a feet? Boy, my feet are 12 inches long, so there's 12 inches in a foot. But my feet are only 9 inches long. Well, you're not real.
It's science.
Science, yes.
Science, bitches.
Oh, the things we talk about here. So when it's funny though that you bring up like not forcing themes and that sort of thing, and this is something that we've touched on a couple times now. So I wanted to dig a little deeper into it. That while it seems like a lot of stuff has really exploded for you, you've had a very productive couple of years as far as writing music goes and promoting yourself and goes. You know, and you've said that you're able to analyze it and use what works and what doesn't. All of that seems like it's going pretty well. Have there been points where you've just like hit a wall with your writing?
Oh, yeah.
And what do you do when you hit that wall?
I've hit that wall several times. I hit it about 4 times in 2021. It's hard because I am a huge go person. And yet I spent most of 2020 and 2021 not even sure where I was going to be living when the pandemic popped up. To make a very long story short, I spent the better part of 2 years in dealing with various immigration processes. I got married in October 2020.
Yay!
Yes! It'll be 2 years, dude. And my husband, as part of that, moved to Canada. Initially, we had planned for me to move to the United States, but, just kind of vaguely picture everything that happened between about April and October 2020 when we looked at each other and were like, yeah, actually, never mind, we're not doing this. So it's funny you say that because I feel like I spent a lot of 2021 kind of spinning my wheels. Like we were working on the songs. We really, basically, when I started working with Shane and Adam, it was in some ways a reset button for the album progress. Like the version of Machine, which was almost done, I largely scrapped and went back to square one on. We basically took everything I had written down to the studs and really reworked and remade it. So I feel, it's funny you say that, 'cause I feel like I spent 2021 largely spinning my wheels. And I have been joking to my friends that once Eric and I finally get settled in the same place and living together, it's over for y'all. Because I'll actually be able to focus. It's over for you guys.
So much for taking a break after the album's released, huh?
We've decided we're taking August to pretty slow because we have been just pulling pretty ridiculous hours to get Mechanismus and Terminus sorted. So
what's going to happen first, the big celebration or crying in the corner?
Toss up.
We'll find out when the festivals are over.
Crying in the corner a couple of times. I've definitely had full stop. I've had I'll be full. Yeah, fuck it. Honesty hour. The launch for Body Talk did not go as I'd hoped. I'd really hoped that the momentum of Whip and Grow would carry it harder. It did not, and that was a really tough thing for me to wrap my head around. I didn't aim it correctly genre-wise. I probably pushed it too much towards the synthwave crowd and didn't really have enough of a concentrated plan coming in because we had just moved. I caught COVID at the end of March, and probably in hindsight, I should have just pushed the release back another month. But that was, we'll call it a learning experience. I'm still proud of the song, but if I could go back and do any moment of the last year again, it's that release, hands down.
Okay.
Like it's like a ball, and you don't really ever get to stop pushing it if you want to have. To me, it just feels like a ball. I don't ever really get to stop pushing.
So if you don't mind me extending Honesty Hour a little further, what you're saying is that you got this big sense of frustration and disappointment, and so was it just got to keep going and you just push that ball again, or?
I had a big cry about it, and then you just went back, kept just pushing the damn ball. And then I went and continued promoting and pushing it, and then everyone went and listened to what you wrote. It is what it is, and people gravitate to what they gravitate to, and I'm just glad they're gravitating to something of mine.
It's true.
It was tough at the time, but it's kind of funny now in hindsight, and yeah, it's just a learning experience. It's been a very busy year. On top of all of that, I did an interstate move in February. I didn't used to live. I used to live in like Calgary, so we're driving back there. Both on a personal, professional level, this has been like a real year of changes.
Honestly, I appreciate you sharing that with me, though, because I feel like a lot of artists want to downplay the frustration part of it and be like, oh, well, it's a learning experience and you move on. But for me, as someone who has had a lot of those stumbling blocks, it's actually, it helps to hear that people whose art I tremendously respect, they're also like, I just kind of sat there and bawled my eyes out for a bit, and the next day I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to write another song.
Pretty much, yeah. You keep going. Actually, one of the artists who I really admire for engaging with that is Daniel Graves. Mm-hmm. I know he can be a little controversial, but I really admire how refreshingly honest he is about the process and about how he feels he stumbled. Which also I'll be submitting for the Aesthetic Perfection opening slot for Vancouver soon. I have to put that together ASAP. I had to sort some stuff out. But
all right, so
cross your fingers and vote for Eva for Vancouver.
Woo, woo, woo! I'll start walking to Vancouver now.
Indeed, come to Vancouver. It's beautiful. We have ocean. We have mountains right there. We have forests.
I've only ever been to Toronto in Canada, and that was on a school trip when I was in high school, which is a lot longer ago than you would think.
My high school is probably also farther away than people would think as well. Yeah, I haven't been to Toronto since I was in university, and we looked very hard at moving there, but we liked Vancouver more.
Mm-hmm. And now that you're all set up there, you're planning for Terminus. But but you've got it all set up. You've got the album coming out. You've got Terminus, and then you've got a month where you just hopefully do absolutely nothing.
I'm planning to alternate between dunking myself in the ocean and dunking myself in the city pool, and then back and forth and back and forth.
You'll be like those dipping candies, you dip in all the different chocolate sauces.
Exactly. No, there's actually where I live. I technically live in a suburb of Vancouver called Port Moody, and there is a wonderful beach about 20 minutes walk from where I live. So I think the day we get back, we're going to just throw on our swimsuits and walk to the beach.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Count me in.
It's going to be really nice.
I'm on my way now.
Yeah, no, I'm also looking forward to sitting down and playing Stray finally.
Oh, I started that last night, and it's lovely.
Oh my god, it hits my two kryptonites. It's like a cyberpunk game with cats.
Yes. I didn't get very far, but it's wonderful so far. So, along those lines, I do have a question about the band name Eva X, because you describe yourself as basically a robot singing songs about being human.
Yeah, that was the first catchphrase.
Yeah. So, is there a reference to Mega Man X in there? And if there's not, can you lie to me?
I can lie to you and tell you there's a Mega Man X reference.
Okay.
So, yes. Actually, that's the new explanation. It's a Mega Man X reference.
There we go. Done.
Cool. That's it. That's the origin story.
Woo!
Yeah. yeah. So the honest answer is I was messing around with a whole bunch of different names. I was like fiddling with like Ada Lovelace, the one of the pioneers of computing, and arguably the first programmer, the first person to write something that was conceivably a programming language, and like Eve and shit like that. And Eva came out, and then the X just looked cool. So we can have a better explanation. That sounds great.
Yeah, you know what? We know artists out there. I'm pretty sure you take some of those awesome live photos that you've been releasing lately. Get someone to draw that, but in the Mega Man X outfit, and there you go. That's your next album cover right there.
Excellent.
Never take my advice. Never.
Advice.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. It's the perils of being a woman in music. I used to play in a pop punk band. I used to play guitar in a pop punk band. Man, you get the best stuff.
Ah. Okay. All right. So, you opened that door, so I'm gonna come running in. Have you found that as you get more success with Eva X, has there been that unfortunate darker side that often comes along with fame as a female artist in any genre?
Oh, sweet Jesus, all the time. It's most people in the community are fantastic, but yeah, you know, you just get the odd tool bag. It's a thing. You get the odd dickhead on YouTube. You get the odd dickhead on Instagram. It's generally just delete, block, move on with it. And my favorite was we were looking at Submit Hub, and my husband is like, you know, just be ready. They're going to say like a lot of rejecting things. I'm like, hey, if it doesn't include like anything like grossly sexual or mean about my body, I'm all set. I can do rejection all day. Like, I sadly, it's a fact of life of being a visible woman in any way, shape, or form. What's fascinating is there actually isn't as much as you think. Paradoxically, I got far worse attention when I was like starting out as an amateur model doing like relatively tame steampunk shit in that. And so I think my personal theory is that the more you like present yourself as largely powerful, and the more you can kind of project that, the more it actually kind of scares people off, which is weird. Like you get the tenor change. It's very interesting.
Oh, I'm not going to hit on her. She'll kick my ass.
If that's the thought process, then good with it. I do think there's also admittedly an advantage there to being like, I'm pretty open about the fact that I am very happily married, and that does, I think, help deter people a little, especially like in the scene. I think there's a bit of, oh yeah, people are, I think it can be a little encouragement, which is sad, but also I am okay with acknowledging the existence of my husband, which I would do anyway, especially like occasionally I will like be like, there is an influx of new followers. Time to do a story with the husband.
Just in case. Like, all right, guys, don't get any ideas.
Reminder. It's like...
No, I get that. The closest analog I have is every time I get a bunch of new bands and DJs following me, I have to put up that reminder post of, by the way, I'm non-binary. But it sounds so much more frustrating to just have to be like, 200 new followers, better remind them that I'm married, just so I can cut down on the amount of sexual harassment I get.
Yeah, luckily, among the followers, it's pretty low. Like, I get more drive-bys. Most of the people who generally, like, everyone on my IG who follows and engages is really, really cool. And so that is nice. See,
so the reason that I'm laughing in the background now is your term of drive-bys, because immediately I think of, like, drive-by dick pics, and that somehow changed to you just, like, walking down the street and someone drives by in a car very quickly and throws like a rubber penis at you. Which is...
Yeah, it's mostly these days, like, it's funny because mostly it's people getting annoyed about my singing these days. It's just kind of funny, but, you know,
People get annoyed about your singing?
Oh yeah, I get the odd, like, if only she could sing comment. I'm just like,
what the fuck is their problem?
No, I'm sorry. If there's one thing where I will basically freely own that I'm damn good, it's my singing.
Yeah.
I have been practicing that shit for years. I actually did go pretty much full range on the album. I think we are at about 3.5 octaves factoring in the backing vocals. I did some truly over-the-top backing vocals. I had a lot of fun doing it.
My throat hurts just thinking about that.
I can sing almost an entire tenor range.
Oh.
The low notes are not especially projected, but I can hit them.
See, I was a tenor, so... Oh. Well, no, I was a baritone who was forced to sing tenor because they don't have baritone in high school.
Interesting. My high school had actually baritones and basses.
Oh, so yeah. In American high schools, you basically get tenors and basses, and never the two shall meet.
Yeah, we had most of our baritones were sectioned off into the bass category, but they generally occasionally had separate parts. Yeah, when I did my aptitude for choir, he was like, so do you want to be a soprano or an alto? Because you actually can sing both. Being the drama queen I am, I chose soprano 1.
Of course, as you do. Well,
as you do.
All right, so little choir joke here, since we both have this going for us. No one chooses to be an alto. Like, all my altos out there, I love you, but you know that if you could hit that range, you wouldn't have chosen to be one.
Yeah, there's a joke in here about, you know, a whole attention seeking thing. Like, my favorite, of course, is how many sopranos does it take to change a light bulb?
Oh, let me hear.
1. She just holds it up and waits for the world to revolve around her.
Yeah, heard that one. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, still a classic.
Still a classic. Oh, I think I might have struck a chord in chat with my comments about altos. So I actually was a soprano. I was a soprano, of course, before my voice changed, and I was up until the 7th grade. And actually, like, halfway through the 7th grade was when my voice began to change. And I was an alto for 1 week before they moved me over to tenor. And I have to say, I don't miss it.
Yeah, it's I mean, I wish I had done more alto work, because when I first started to do harmonies for the album, I was so screwed. So, it might have taught me a few things that would have been really useful in hindsight. And now, like, Whipping Girl and, like, a lot of my stuff is fairly alto range, and I guess everything is circular.
Well, and because as much of the trash talking that I'm giving altos right now, there's something about, and that's why I was going to say, anybody that's dissing your vocals just obviously doesn't understand the power of the sultry low voice.
Yeah, it's a real... I had to really sit down and learn that one. It's funny because my kind of natural inclination is to be very, like, kind of airy-fairy, classically inclined.
Right.
So it was a huge transition.
Well,
I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, so am I, because it's awesome.
Well, thank you. Yeah. No, it's been a really big change.
So we're getting towards the end here. So let's pretend that I am not a member of the Sounds and Shadows group and have been living under a rock for the past couple of years and have no idea. This interview is the first time I've ever heard your music or heard about your music. Where do I find you? Where do I get your stuff?
So Eva X is on every streaming platform I can get my music on. It's Spotify, Apple Music. Pretty sure we have just about everything else at this point. YouTube Music for sure. I am on pretty much every social network. Instagram is eva_x.exe. Everything else, Facebook, Eva X, Twitter, Eva_exe, TikTok, same. So yeah, I am all over the place. I'm also on Bandcamp and on YouTube with my fabulous music videos.
Yay! And what's the name of that new album again on Bandcamp? What's it called?
That new album is called I Dream of a Reality. It's out September 9th. It is available for pre-order now, and it's released through Distortion Productions. So if you head to Distortion Productions Bandcamp, you can find it there.
Excellent. And congratulations getting on Distortion Productions, by the way. That's a great label.
It's wonderful to be there. I'm so happy.
Awesome. Well, so is there anything else that you would like to bring up before I cast you off and let you deal with Terminus prep?
Man, I am, I'll think of it 20 minutes from now and be very sad. But for right now, I've just got,
just
thank
call
you so
me.
much for having me out here. It's been great. Yeah, I'll just call you.
I'll be DJing. I'll hold the microphone up to the phone. It'll be fine.
Sounds good. No, not really. This has been great.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Thank you for being involved with this, because it's just nice to like. This is the closest I've come to meeting you, although you can't see me. Ha ha ha. But just like I said, having enjoyed your music since 2020, it's been very difficult to not just fanboy all over the place here. So.
Oh my God! Thank you so much. That really is huge and means a lot to hear. So thank you so much.
So for those of you that are listening live on Twitch, up next we've got the Afterparty, a beatmatched mix show with live art on stream, which is going to be really cool. We're going to start off with an Eva X track and go from there, see what happens. Don't really have any plans, although I have been given a new Sword Tongue remix that I probably want to try and get in there somehow. But if you're watching on YouTube later, well, you just found out that Eva X has a YouTube. So you should go check out those cool videos there. So thank you again, Gabby, and thank you everybody for joining in chat, and I'll see you when I see you.